I want to thank our fans. That was a great environment. First night game, DKR, and lived up to the billing from an energy standpoint. And so appreciate their support. Everybody staying till the end. I get it. Games can kind of get out of hand, and it's easy to leave. But for them to stick around, support our guys, it means a ton. So thank you to them for that. Very, very proud of our team. Like I said, this week was going to test the maturity of this team. You go on the road and you get a big win, and what is it going to look like the next week? And we believe in our formula for success, and I think as a staff we try to instill that into our players, and we try to instill that in the leadership on our team, and in turn they responded, and they practiced really well, especially on Tuesday and Wednesday, and they appreciate those hard hat lunch pail days that we have. And they came out tonight and played that way. And, I thought we were really good defensively. Again, holding them to, I think, 2 of 17 on third down. And, the one touchdown run was really a bust on our part. And so I just thought we played very good football there. I thought offensively, the explosiveness kind of came alive tonight, which was something we were hoping to be able to do, to create some explosive pass plays. We've been efficient the first couple weeks, but to create the explosive pass plays was big for us. Quinn was super efficient in his time in there. I think he was like 14 of 16 with a couple touchdowns, kind of an errant throw on the interception, but really played efficient football, and we'll talk about him in a minute. And then for Arch to come in and, just – you never know as a backup when you're going to get put in the game. And for him to come in on his first play to hit DeAndre Moore for the touchdown, on his third play to be able to, get into, now we're in a little different style of offense when he's in there, a little zone read to pull it, and for the explosive play. But I love the post throw to Ryan Wingo for the long touchdown, the big corner route to Ryan. Threw a beautiful, kind of slot fade to Jonte Cook for a touchdown. He did some nice things for us, extended some drives on third down. So that was a great experience for him that he got. And then to get Trey in the game was good as well. So, we're a little nicked up right now at some spots, and that's why our depth is getting tested. But the beauty of it is that we have the depth that we have. And, Quinn, it's an oblique strain, an abdomen strain. Remains to be seen of kind of, the seriousness of that or the length of that, but that's what it is. There's nothing, we don't think it's anything structural or broken or things like that. It was an odd play. But again, that gave an opportunity for Arch to get some valuable playing time and experience. So all in all, it was a really good win for our team. Proud of the guys and the way we worked. Loved that we got to play a lot of players, and those players got rewarded through their efforts in practice to go out and play well. And so we got to go kind of create that again this week and make practice as competitive as we can.
Start with Eric, go from the middle.
Steve, just want to come back to defense for a second. 12 TFLs, since it's the second most you've had since you've been at Texas. Could you just talk about the defense as far as their performance over 3 games and the fact that they're creating plays behind the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, they are. I think so much was made, and granted, we lost a couple really good players on our defensive front. When you lose a first-round pick in Murph and then in Sweat and the Outland Trophy winner, you're kind of like, okay, how are we going to replace this? How are we going to do this? And I think we did it a couple ways. One, we got some depth on the interior defensive line. I think we added some juice off the edge with Trey and Colin coming on board. I think sliding Anthony to the middle and then rotating those guys like we have. And you saw a bunch of different guys make plays. And I think that's one thing about the defense right now. It's not about one group or one player that's just dominating. I think we're playing really well team defense. And bunch of different guys are making plays. The Ongla foul gets a sack. Colton Vossick gets a sack. Anthony Smith gets a TFL on fourth down. You were getting pass rush from different people. Colin Simmons gets a sack tonight. So a lot of different people are getting production for us. So we're not having to rely on one. We're just playing the scheme, and we're playing hard, and we're playing fast and physical right now.
On your right, Danny.
Steve, about your running backs. Jaden didn't play. Was that more of a preventative thing, and did something happen to Trey during the game?
So Jaden, we just didn't feel like could go. I mean, we always try to assess our players and the best we can, and I think he would have wanted to play. But again, you get an ankle sprain the way he did a week ago. Sometimes those are hard to get back from in 1 week, and so we held him. We went with Trey. Trey kind of got tweaked there. Could have probably went back in the game, but we felt comfortable going with Jarek. We knew we wanted to get Ryan some more carries and Velton some carries, so we felt pretty good, especially with the score where it was. I think if it was a tighter game, Trey could have kept going, so we'd been okay there.
Coach, do you think Arch and Wingo kind of have a maybe an extra special connection considering their work in practice?
Well, I think that sometimes that's a little bit helpful. When a lot of times when Arch is in, he's not getting to throw to Isaiah and Matt Golden and DeAndre. He has Ryan Wingo, Jonte Cook, and Silas Bolden a lot of the times. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. And so when they're in there together, sometimes there is a little bit of a comfort level. Not to say that he can't find Isaiah or Matt and those guys, but naturally when you have that rapport that you have, those guys kind of hit their stride together. I thought Ryan Wingo, again, all he's done through 3 games is create explosive plays. It's been 3 straight games now where he's made big plays for us. The post was a heck of a job of just kind of running through the safety for the big touchdown, and then the corner route just on a 50-50 contested catch. So, he's coming. I'm proud of him. And I thought Isaiah, kind of set the tone for us early in the game. And, Matt Golden, his ability to block on the perimeter is something that sometimes can get overlooked. And so it's happy for those guys. Happy for DeAndre Moore of getting involved. He's been working so hard, but to get involved in the offense for the touchdown, and obviously Jonte to catch a couple tonight as well.
Hey, Coach, right here. Coach, a backup quarterback doesn't come off the bench and perform like that unless they prepared like they were a starter. So talk about, in the spring, you wanted to make sure that Arch got plenty of reps so he'd be ready for this moment. Talk about preparing him, kind of your initial thoughts on that, and really where the strength of your quarterback room at this moment.
Yeah, it's always hard, especially when you have a backup that doesn't have a ton of experience. Arch was really our 3rd guy last year, the bulk of the season, and didn't get a ton of experience. And so when we went into spring ball, we thought, okay, Quinn's a starter, but we got to make sure Arch is ready to play, and you never know when that can happen. And that was, you go back to the spring game, that was the reasoning behind we did what we did is, Arch basically played the whole game with the kind of the 1 offense, and Trey played the whole game with the 2 offense, just to get them some experience. And so, we take a lot of pride in our practices and competitive and going good on good and things of that nature to try to make as many game-like situations as we can. But there's nothing like being in the game and playing. And playing in front of 105,000 people is not the easiest thing to do. So I was really proud of Arch and what he's able to do. And I was really proud of Trey. He's got a couple of unfortunate things in there, and you're in there and we're trying to run it and just kind of get some first downs along the way. But he actually operated really, really well for a kid, first time in a ball game. So I think our room's in good shape. Coach Milwee does a great job with those guys. We try to tailor our system to the strengths of our quarterbacks, and then make sure the skill players can operate around them. And so I think those guys are very comfortable with what we're doing right now.
Coach Ed.
Coach, after 3 games, are you feeling good about where your team is after 3 weeks?
I'm going to say no. No, Ed, I appreciate the question. I really love this team. That's the first thing I want to say about this team. These guys, I love them because they really love one another. We work really hard, and we push these guys, and we're demanding of them. But at the same time, we have a lot of fun together, and there's so much love. Like, I've never hugged so many players in the middle of games and things of those small moments as a coach that I really appreciate with this group, because I really feel like this is such a close-knit football team. And so I'm proud of them for where we're at after 3 games. But on the other side of that is I can rattle off a number of plays in my head right now off the top that, man, we got to do that. We got to be better than that, And so I always look for the things where we can improve. And I'm going to come in here Monday morning and I'm going to show them the things that we did well, that we worked on and got better at. But I'm going to show them things on this tape that we need to improve upon as if we're going to go try to be the championship caliber team that we think we're capable of being.
On your right, Coach. Kirk.
There didn't seem to be any drop-off when Quinn went out and Arch came back in. Do you feel like you have to limit the playbook even moving forward with Arch? And what's Quinn's emotional state right now?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think we have to limit the playbook, but what we try to do is really identify the things that each quarterback does well, and sometimes we prioritize different plays predicated on the quarterback, and that we ask them a lot of questions. Every Friday night we sit with the quarterbacks and we go through the call sheet with them, and we have them pick their favorite plays. We have them by situation, whether it's in the base game plan, third down, red area, and we mark those down. And so that if the backup goes in like Arch, we knew the plays that he picked that he liked going into this game plan. And so it makes life a little bit easier for us. We try not to be stubborn and just call what we think is the best plays, because ultimately they're the ones that have to execute them. So, moving forward, we'll monitor, kind of systematically where we're at with whatever quarterback's in there. We'll put together a good game plan and keep forging forward. I think Quinn's in pretty good spirits. I talked to him on the sidelines there, and he was playing such good football. Again, my hope is that this isn't a long-term thing, that we'll get him back, because hey, we need as many healthy, good players as we can get for this journey that we're on right now.
On your left, Coach Josh.
Steve, you talk about Quinn was playing good football. He's in good spirits. He has a bit of an injury history with the shoulders. He's missed some games. From your standpoint, how frustrating is it to see another injury and something else happen where he might have to miss games?
Oh, it was just probably the biggest thing was because it was so odd. It was a non-contact deal. He made a heck of a beautiful pass to Gunnar Helm. And I think we were all watching Gunnar run down the sidelines and hurdle the guy. Like Gunnar's been playing so good, and all of a sudden it's like he's down or he's limping. And Coach Choice was actually the one who said he thinks Quinn's hurt. So we called a run, and he turned and looked at me right away like something, like he just pointed kind of at his stomach and then took the knee. And so, again, our training staff does a really good job with him. And I think, mentally, because Quinn's been through it, and I think because those other injuries he got with the shoulder were so structural and they were contact type injuries, I think he's probably in a little better spirit. Like, hey, okay, this was non-contact. It doesn't feel like it was structural, but we got to do everything in our part to get him as healthy as we can as quickly as possible.
Back on your right, center.
Hey, Steve. No, Arch doesn't have a lot of experience, but he seems to have this unflappable quality about him. How does that free you up to still be aggressive in your play calling?
Yeah, I think because of the way we practice, we don't, when our twos practice, we don't like shrink the playbook and play super conservative. We practice the toughest stuff we have, because we never know when one of those guys has to go in. It could be a O-lineman or a runner or quarterback. And so because of that, in practice, we expose him to so much that I don't feel like I'm handcuffed because Arch is in the game. I feel like he's been running all these plays all week long. Again, we've identified some of the things that we think he does well and that he said he does well, and so we just went and played offensive football. Like I didn't think like, well, Arch is in there. Let's take it easy. Of note, the sack we take on third down is a 5-man protection. We didn't do a great job with the clock management. Arch was ready to change the protection, but knew the clock was running down, had to get it snapped, and ends up getting sacked on the play. And he was able to come right off the field and verbalize all of that to me in real time, which tells me he was clear-minded and focused on what we were trying to do. So, again, nobody likes to get sacked, but in a weird way, it was probably kind of good for him to get hit and have to get back up and then go play again the next series.
Back over here on the left. Terry.
Coach, last week you were talking about how you wanted the team to play in all 60 minutes, not let up, choke them until the end. Did they accomplish that in your eyes? And also, after Arch got a touchdown, did you headbutt him on the side? You're excited?
I think he tried to headbutt me. I think I might have dodged him, but he was pretty jacked up about that. But I was, it's always a little bit difficult. You got guys in there, and again, I don't. I respect the game of football. I respect Coach Traylor and their staff and their team. And so you want to get first downs, but you're trying not to do things that are unsportsmanlike and out of sportsmanship. And in the end, we kind of stubbed our own toe there offensively with a false start. we get a penalty after a whistle, and then you're behind the sticks, and you don't want to throw it. So, but I appreciate the way our guys played. We played hard. Defensively, I thought we continued to play really tough, hard-nosed, physical football all the way until the end. Ethan Burke getting the interception. I thought he what a fantastic play to make. Everything was great until the belly flop into the end zone. So we're going to try to critique the dive by Burke there. But I think that's the beauty of our team. Like the excitement on that play, it looked like about half our team was trying to run into the end zone to celebrate with him. In a score that's 56-7, you don't see a lot of teams together like that. And I thought our guys were together all night long, which was really cool.
Coach, with opposing defenses having to account for Arch more as a runner than, say, Quinn, how much more does that open up for you as an offensive play caller?
Well, it's different, right? It's not something that we've done a ton of here. We did a little bit back in the day, with Hudson when we had him. And so to have that at our disposal, sometimes that can keep people a little bit more honest. But, we're never going to major in that. It's not kind of who we are philosophically as an offense, but we like to have it in our back pocket to keep things honest. And so that we'll probably just kind of stay the course with that.
Over here on your left, yeah.
You mentioned how difficult or interesting it could be for a backup to come in without getting a serious heads up or something like that. When you talked to Arch and he saw that it was time for him to come in, what did you hear from him? What did you see from him in that moment?
He was fine. I had a pretty good idea of what I was going to call if Quinn was still in. And so when we checked on Quinn, I came back and we had to go. And I said, well, hey, Arch, this is what we're going to run. He's like, yeah, that's perfect. Great. And we ran it. Now, it wasn't like we had this moment, it was just like, hey, this is the play, go run the thing, And so that's just kind of who Arch is though. He's just a normal guy that plays quarterback at the University of Texas, and the name on the back of his jersey is one thing, but who he is as a teammate, I think, is another. And he just wants to play really good for all the guys around him, that if he goes in there, he wants to make sure we keep moving the football because they're all counting on him to do that. And so that was the play, and he ran it, and it wasn't just some aha moment. I think the aha moment was when he tucked it and ran for the touchdown. That was kind of like, whoa. I think he got his grandpa's athleticism. I don't know if he got his uncle's.
Last one, back middle, no?
Hey, Steve, with the running back room and everything you guys have been tested there, it's kind of weird to call a freshman steadying, but how steadying is Jarek, and how good can he be, but, still kind of learning with the fumble there tonight as well? Yeah,
I think that's a valuable lesson for him. Jarek's a great kid, and his work ethic is incredible. He's super coachable, and nobody coaches harder than Coach Choice. I mean, he's on those guys, and I think Jarek is steadily finding his way of the style of runner that he is. I mean, he really gets behind his pads. If you notice, he falls forward a lot. He doesn't get knocked back. And in that sequence, we were kind of trying to run the ball and have a bit of an attitude drive, and it's 3rd and 1. You get the first down. Sometimes just possessing the ball and not always fighting for those extra yards once you get it. But that's stuff you learn as you grow and with maturity. And so, through some of those, let's call it a failure when you fumble, that's a great opportunity to learn. And I think if anybody, Jarek Gibson, the way he approaches things, he'll learn.